Welcome to a deep dive into the world of Ada Lovelace. You've probably heard her called the first computer programmer, but trust me, this is going to be way more than just a history lesson.
It is, yeah.
We're going to explore how this woman born way back in the 1800s had these ideas about technology that are like totally shaping the world we're living in right now, today.
It's really remarkable.
So where do we even begin with someone like Ada Lovelace?
Well, I think what's really fascinating about Ada is that her story begins with this really sort of fascinating paradox.
Okay, you've got my attention. What's the paradox?
So Ada was the daughter of Lord Byron.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, the romantic poet, like practically a rock star of his time.
Right, right.
Famous for his passionate emotional poetry.
Yeah, the mad, bad, and dangerous to know, Lord Byron.
Exactly, yeah.
Not exactly known for, like, his super logical thinking, is he?
Exactly. But here's the twist. Ada's mother was a mathematician.
Oh, okay.
And she insisted on a very structured, logical education for her daughter. So she was determined to kind of steer Ada away from what she perceived as her father's dangerous emotional tendencies.
Wow, talk about nature versus nurture, right? It was like you'd think with those two opposite influences, Ada would have had to, like, really lean heavily towards one or the other.
Right.
You know?
And that's what makes Ada so fascinating.
Yeah.
She didn't just rebel against that strict upbringing from her mother.
Right.
And she didn't just become like this brooding, Byronic poet either.
Yeah.
Instead, she embraced both logic and imagination, kind of weaving them together into this unique way of thinking that was just absolutely crucial to her groundbreaking work with technology.
It's like she took the best of both worlds, right?
Exactly.
And, like, mashed them up and created something totally new that's really powerful.
Yeah, and you can see that even in Ada's childhood.
Oh, really?
As a young girl, she was completely obsessed with designing flying machines.
Wait, flying machines, like she was sketching out hot air balloons or something?
Think more like Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, wow.
She was studying bird anatomy, experimenting with materials for wings.
Wow.
Even incorporating ideas about steam power.
Really?
She was approaching it like a true engineer,
Yeah.
methodically and imaginatively trying to solve this problem of flight.
A steam-powered flying machine. That's just incredible. I mean, you can already see her brilliant mind at work, right? Like, just totally blending creativity with this really practical approach to solving problems.
Exactly.
I love it.
And this early fascination with combining imagination and engineering, I think that really sets the stage for Ada's most important encounter.
Okay, tell me.
Her meeting with Charles Babbage.
Ah, yes, enter the father of computers. So that must have been, like, absolutely pivotal for her.
Absolutely.
What year are we talking about here?
So it was 1833.
Okay.
Ada was only 18 years old.
Wow, so young.
Yeah, when she first met Babbage. And at that time, he was working on this groundbreaking invention, the analytical engine.
Okay, so for those of us who, maybe need a little refresher, what exactly was the analytical engine? I know it's considered like an early computer, but paint me a picture. What are we talking about?
Imagine a machine that could not only perform calculations, but also store and process information,
Okay.
making decisions based on the data it received.
Wow.
That was the analytical engine.
So it's more than a calculator. It's really like
Well, yeah,
starting to think.
much more than a calculator.
Okay.
This was a mechanical marvel.
Yeah.
Far ahead of its time, and it was designed to really go beyond just simple number crunching.
That's a total game changer. Okay, so Ada meets the inventor of this revolutionary machine.
Yes.
What was their dynamic like? Were they,
Well, it was really a true meeting of the minds.
Yeah,
They were both drawn to each other's intellect.
I can imagine.
Babbage was so impressed with Ada's understanding of his work that he actually nicknamed her the Enchantress of Numbers.
Enchantress of numbers. Oh, I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
It sounds so mystical, but she's dealing with, like, logic and machines. But I'm guessing Ada wasn't just passively absorbing Babbage's ideas, was she?
Absolutely not. Ada had this really sharp analytical mind,
Yeah,
and she was not afraid to use it.
I bet.
She critiqued Babbage's work, she challenged his assumptions, and she pushed him to think more deeply about the possibilities of his own invention.
So Ada was already challenging the father of computers at just 18 years old.
Yeah.
That's so impressive. She wasn't just a student,
Right.
She was a collaborator pushing the boundaries of what was possible.
Absolutely.
I love it.
And that collaborative spirit is really what led to Ada's most groundbreaking contribution.
Okay.
A few years later, 1843, Ada is asked to translate this article about the analytical engine from French to English.
Okay. Seems pretty straightforward.
Right.
But knowing Ada, I'm betting there's more to it.
Oh, there's always more to the story with Ada.
Yeah.
She didn't just translate the article word for word.
Uh-huh.
She added her own extensive notes, and they ended up being like 3 times longer than the original text.
Wow. She wasn't just a translator, she was an innovator. So what was in those notes that made them so important?
Her notes, as they're known, those are really what cemented Ada's legacy as this true visionary.
Yeah.
One note in particular,
Okay.
Note G,
No, Julie.
contains what's considered the first computer program in history.
Whoa, hold on a second. The analytical engine was never actually built, right? In their lifetime.
Yeah.
So how could she have written a program for it?
That's exactly what makes Ada's work so remarkable.
Yeah.
She had this extraordinary ability to grasp the potential of the machine even before it existed.
Wow.
Note G describes an algorithm for the analytical engine to calculate Bernoulli numbers.
Bernoulli number, okay, I'm sure they're fascinating, but I have to confess, math is not really my strong suit.
Sure.
Can you explain why creating an algorithm for those numbers was such a big deal?
Absolutely. So imagine you're trying to predict how fluids are going to behave, like air flowing over an airplane wing or water moving through a pipe. Bernoulli numbers, those are essential for making these kinds of complex calculations.
Ah, okay.
What Ada did was demonstrate how the analytical engine could go beyond just simple arithmetic
Yeah.
and tackle these highly complex mathematical problems.
Wow.
Problems with real-world applications.
So Ada wasn't just playing with numbers, she was really laying the foundation for how we use computers to, like, understand and model the actual physical world.
Exactly.
That's
And
incredible.
her vision went even further.
Really?
This is where it gets even more mind-blowing. Ada understood that the analytical engine wasn't just limited to crunching numbers.
Okay, tell me more.
She grasped this concept that was truly revolutionary for her time.
Okay.
She realized that this machine could manipulate any information that could be represented by symbols, not just numbers.
Hmm.
She even suggested it could be used to compose music, create graphics, process all sorts of information that we now take for granted in the digital age.
Wait, are you saying she basically predicted, like, the whole multimedia world we live in today? The internet, digital music, video games, like, it all goes back to Ada's vision of a machine that could work with any kind of information.
Yeah, her vision was that broad.
That just blows my mind.
It really does. Ada was thinking way beyond the limitations of her time.
Yeah.
She saw the potential of computers to become much more than calculating machines.
Right.
She understood that they could be these powerful tools for creation, for communication, exploring the very nature of information itself.
It's like she was looking into a crystal ball and seeing the future of computing.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And what's even more fascinating is that Ada's insights, they extend to the very heart of the debate about artificial intelligence that we're still grappling with today.
You're talking about her famous statement that the analytical engine has no pretensions to originate anything, right?
Exactly. Ada recognized that machines, no matter how complex, are ultimately tools
Yeah.
that can only do what we program them to do.
Okay.
They can process information, they can follow instructions,
Right.
they can even learn and adapt. But they don't possess this capacity for true original thought or creativity in the way that humans do.
That is like such a fundamental concept in the field of AI.
It is.
And it's incredible to think that she articulated that so clearly way back in the 1800s.
Right.
I mean, people are still arguing about whether machines can truly think. It just shows how ahead of her time Ada really was.
It really does. And it speaks volumes about her deep understanding of both the power and the limitations of technology.
Yeah.
Sadly, though, Ada made all these incredible contributions in really a tragically short life.
Yes, it's important to acknowledge that, right? Like her brilliance shone so brightly. But for a short time, tell me a little bit about the challenges that she faced.
Well, Ada struggled with lifelong health problems.
Okay.
And like many women of her time, she faced these societal constraints that really limited opportunities for women in science.
Yeah, that's true.
But even with all of that, her intellect and her determination, they really persevered.
Her story's really a testament to, like, the power of the human spirit, you know?
It is.
To overcome those challenges and make such a lasting impact on the world.
It is.
And even though she died young, her legacy didn't just fade away, did it?
No, not at all.
Good.
Ada's work was largely forgotten for a time after her death.
Okay.
But there was this huge resurgence of interest in the mid-20th century, alongside the rise of digital computing.
Mm.
It's as if the world finally caught up to her visionary ideas.
That's almost poetic, isn't it?
Yeah.
The daughter of a famous poet ends up laying the groundwork for the entire digital age.
It's a fascinating twist of fate, and now Ada Lovelace is rightly recognized as a pioneer in computing, a symbol of the power of imagination and logic working together to shape the future.
Absolutely. It really makes you think what she would think of the tech we have now.
Yeah, it
I
does.
mean, it's incredible.
It is.
So one thing that really stands out to me about Ada is that, she seemed to be aware of like the potential downsides of technology.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about, her father, Lord Byron.
Right.
He was this figure whose powerful words could like inspire people, but also incite them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you think that influenced Ada's thinking at all about technology?
It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
Ada seemed to understand that any powerful tool, whether it's the written word or a machine that can process information, can be used for good or for bad.
Yeah, that's a lesson we're still struggling with today,
Yeah.
especially with like the crazy fast advancement of AI, right? I mean, these algorithms are shaping our lives in ways we don't even fully understand.
Right.
And sometimes I think it's just so easy to get caught up in like the excitement of this new tech without thinking about the consequences.
Exactly. I think Ada's life and work really reminds us that innovation isn't just about building faster, more powerful machines.
It's about the impact.
It's about understanding the human impact of those machines. Absolutely.
And taking responsibility for how we actually use them.
Yeah.
So, like, what can we learn from Ada Lovelace's story? What does all of this mean for us now as we're kind of like navigating this super complex world of technology?
Well, I think Ada's legacy challenges us to think beyond just the purely technical aspects of technology.
Yeah.
It's not just about, like, can we build it?
Yeah.
It's also, should we build it?
Right.
And how is this going to impact humanity?
That's a big one.
It is.
Yeah. It's like she's calling us to action in a way, to have these like really thoughtful conversations about the role of technology in our lives,
Exactly. And to approach innovation with a sense of wonder, but also with like a healthy dose of critical thinking.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder and critical thinking.
Absolutely. We have to remember that technology is ultimately a tool.
Yeah.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
True.
The choice is ours.
That is such a powerful takeaway. Ada Lovelace, the enchantress of numbers, she wasn't just a brilliant mind who, like, happened to write the first computer program. She was this visionary
Right.
who really understood how deeply technology would affect humanity.
Yeah.
And her insights are, I think, even more relevant today than they ever were before.
I agree.
Well, this has been awesome.
It has.
I've learned so much today.
It's been a pleasure exploring her legacy with you.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Ada Lovelace.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully you've all learned something new, and maybe you're even feeling inspired to go out and, like, explore her ideas even further.
I hope so.
Who knows? You might just discover your own inner enchantress of numbers along the way.
You never know.